There's something going on, guys, you need to know about, and it's really not getting reported. And it's going to cause a huge problem. It's going to be one of those all of a sudden breaking news things. And unless you've been with my channel, you're not going to know what it's about. You see, over the last few years, with the artificially created fall in oil prices by the US and the Saudis, it has opened up an opportunity for the Chinese and the Russians to get involved in Venezuela, to give them loans, to offer them a lifeline that will keep their tentacles there. Now, oil prices are starting to go up, and they're going to continue to go up. And with this Iran deal thing happening in about 5 days, it's really going to cause a spike. The problem with this is twofold. As oil prices go up, it makes Venezuela more solvent. It gives them more of an ability to pay back their loans, because of course they make more money. This is something that is wanted and desired by Russia and China, because they want their money. The problem is this: ConocoPhillips is attempting to seize Venezuelan assets in Bonaire, Curacao, and Aruba. Not really Aruba. St. Eustatius Island, Bonaire, and Curacao. By force, if necessary. Because of this arbitration ruling that really has no legal weight whatsoever. Now, ask yourself a question. If it's a choice between the Russians or the Chinese getting paid, or ConocoPhillips getting paid, who do you think wins that shit-eating contest? This is big U.S. corporations, oil companies, against two nation states. 3, technically. And Venezuela has ordered all of its tankers in the Caribbean back into Venezuelan waters to await further instructions. And this is how it's going to begin. It's going to be a throwdown, and see who blinks first. And this isn't something that hasn't been warned of. The Chinese and the Russians will get their money one way or the other. And if they have to drive oil prices into the stratosphere, they will do it. And if they have to send assets into that region, and I mean military assets into that region to secure those tankers moving to Chinese and Russian waters, they will do it. And Conoco will be left out to dry. And this is getting reported everywhere else, but not here in the U.S. This is how it's going to start. If you can imagine Russian ships and Chinese jets securing Venezuelan airspace, Venezuelan waters, in order for those vessels to be able to transit safely to China. Now, what have I warned about for the last year? There is one path from Venezuela to China, and it goes right through the Panama Canal. This is coming. There is going to be a conflict. What's going to happen is one of these Venezuelan tankers is going to attempt to be seized by ConocoPhillips as it enters the Panama Canal. And it is going to cause a problem with the Russians and the Chinese. They will come in, if necessary, and they will take over the canal zone in order to ensure those tankers make their way from Venezuela to Russia and China uninterrupted. Period. End of sentence. No doubt about it. The Panamanians will attempt to get the U.S. to back them up with their sovereignty. And then the U.S. is going to have a problem. We could be looking at Fourth Fleet naval assets, nose to nose, with Chinese and Russian assets in the Caribbean very soon. This is why I have told people to get their relatives out of Panama, get their relatives out of Costa Rica for so long. This never ended well. There was no way this was ever going to end well. With the collapse of Venezuela, you aren't going to be looking at Venezuela going, "Oh, U.S., you are so right. We have been so wrong. We are going to now try to run our country like a constitutional republic, just like yours." That was never going to happen. This is the argument that I have been making for so long. What was the end game of sanctions? What was the end game? How did destroying the Venezuelan economy, how did criminalizing investing in Venezuela, how did that serve U.S. interests? What happened when we criminalized any U.S. interests from giving loans to Venezuela to giving any kind of assistance to Venezuela? What happened? They found other places to get that assistance, and that assistance now gives those other countries a vested interest in maintaining the free flow of oil from Venezuela to China and to Russia. And if you don't think they're going to defend it, being the largest known reserves in the world, they will defend it. And if you think the problems in the Fourth Fleet are a big deal because of drug runners, why do you think I've warned about the planes that are down there? The Russian Navy ships that are docked in Managua. This is going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly quick. It's why I turned the corner of the channel away from the Fitzgerald and the McCain issue to this, because it's huge. It is a big, big deal. If we see Russian warships, and Chinese aircraft in the air protecting a corridor between Venezuela through the Panama Canal and out through the Pacific, and if U.S. assets attempt to interdict to enforce a civil court order by ConocoPhillips, this is going to be a problem like you would not believe. They start knocking down Chinese jets, or Chinese jets start knocking our jets down, or whatever, or they start going after U.S. shipping. I mean, this is not going to go away. This isn't going to get settled diplomatically. The only way this goes down, where the parties that need to be paid get paid, will necessarily require the skyrocketing of the price of oil. I mean, we're talking $7, $8 a gallon here in the U.S., $150 a barrel, $175 a barrel, to get Venezuela back to where the money that it's getting for its oil pays back the Russians and pays back the Chinese. It's already starting. It is already starting. And this is part of the equation you're not hearing in the mainstream media. So, I'll leave it there. I will keep an eye on this, but pray, like, share, subscribe.